Hello to all. Glad to be with you again today. Although I am not here with you, I have created a series of activities that will help you explore the next concept that we're going to talk about with deeper learning. When last we met, we talked about two of the 6 qualities of deeper learning, one of which was learning independently, and the other one was applying content knowledge. Today we're going to take a look at communicating clearly as the concept that we're going to dig into. In your Canvas course, I have created a page that runs through a series of activities. There is just some questions to get us thinking that I would like you guys to ponder as you go through. What forms of communication do our schools value most? Is it speaking, listening, writing, reading? What happens when one way of communication is privileged over another? And what happens when one of these is not cultivated as an important skill, as important as the others? As I was preparing for this, I happened across a piece of writing from Maria Popova, who writes a blog called Brain Pickings. Every act of communication is an act of tremendous courage in which we give ourselves over to 2 parallel possibilities. The possibility of planting into another mind a seed sprouted in ours and watching it blossom into a breathtaking flower of mutual understanding, and the possibility of being wholly misunderstood, reduced to a withering weed. I'll let you read the rest of that on your own, but things to be thought about when you are both communicating with your students and also when you're helping your students understand how to communicate clearly with an audience on their side. There are 4 different options below here to investigate. There's 2 different readings and then 2 different videos. Pick any 2 and take a moment to both read and or watch those. After you've done that, then enter into this discussion. What do each of these forms of communication do well? And what is unique about their choices related to communication? Do they clearly communicate a message? And that is related to these 4 options below. And what these are 4 different ways to look at how you might communicate a message. Each of them is unique and different. Each of them has a particular way in which they are communicating, and they utilize both different techniques and technologies to do so. And then talk about those. What makes Journey, which is a book, an interesting way of communication? What makes Snowfall an interesting way to communicate a message? This is a primary source doc, which also has an interesting message that is being communicated. And then this one is much more map-based to learn about both North and South Korea. But what is it in these that allows someone to receive a message and also to send a message about what they want to communicate? After you have done a little of investigating, done a little bit of looking at other options, then I want you to look at your upcoming unit of study in one of your classes and evaluate the different types of communication you've included in the delivery of content, as well as the different types of communication that you use with students for formative and summative assessments. So taking a look at a unit and saying, hey, is this me talking at them all the time? Is this them only writing for a 1-person audience? How might I take a look at what I need to see from kids and think differently about how they can submit a formative and summative assessment? And how might I, as the teacher, think about another way of communicating clearly that may not be just teacher delivery? If you need some fodder, some ideas for this, I did include a set of links back on our original site where we had our stuff. And there are some options here to look around, to browse. They may not all be communication focused, but a lot of different ways to think about how kids can submit ideas that might be different than what you currently have in your brain. Sometimes it's fun to just poke around in there and see what they have to offer for ideas. When you're done with that, identify one way that you're going to think about how to communicate differently in your delivery of content, and one way in which you're going to communicate formative or summative assessments, or allow kids to communicate that way. And then if you have a digitized unit or lesson plan and where you're going to make the change, highlight those in yellow. If it isn't digitized, just include in your post below here what it is, the change that you're going to make. And then the last piece is to navigate to the discussion relevant to your grade level or subject area, and those are all listed down here. I did have an all-encompassing all others category, but broke out fine arts, math, science, ELA, social studies in the different areas. And I would like you to post a link to your unit or lesson plan with the highlighted portions, or if it's not digitized, describe the changes that you're thinking about making and reflect upon the changes you made, why you made them, and any other related thoughts from the resources that you investigated. And then have an engaged back and forth with your colleagues about their ideas and their reflections. At the bottom here are a couple other places if you would like to learn further and explore these concepts. These are little micro modules put together by a different group, but might allow you to extend your learning should you want to. So, in review, some thinking, some investigating, some reflecting on new resources, and then the action that we would like you to take is to really take a look at an upcoming unit or lesson and consider how this might impact your day-to-day experience with kids. And then down here, please share those ideas. Just as a reminder, we have the two-sheeter here that also goes through just the breakdown of what's happening when it's happening. Listening, researching, reading, writing, public presentations of work, students editing back and forth and giving each other ideas. And then also this multimedia portfolios are also part of it. Communication skills being explicitly taught, students working with each other, and students presenting in front of each other. If you need some questions to kind of probe what you're up to, are students regularly asked to present, explain, and defend their ideas orally and in writing? Are students regularly using multimedia tools to show their work? Are students constantly revising and improving their work? How often? How explicit and central is this expectation? And is communications routinely being taught and practiced in all classes and projects, not just in English class? When you think about the concept of communicating clearly, it is both as the speaker and as the listener. It is both as the producer of work and the consumer and or audience of that work. It is not something that at this point in our technological age that has to be a one-dimensional thing. So as you investigate, I leave you with these resources and these experiences. As always, you can reach me at dlaufenberg@gmail.com if you have any questions that you would like to follow up on, or if you have any comments. I will be monitoring the discussions and jumping in if there are questions and comments in there. So wishing you all a fabulous day of learning, and let me know if I can be helpful.